Hey, everybody. Want to talk about a very, very important subject. And it's really something that really takes this course and really puts it in a completely different category. It's going to take your profitability and give it some dramatic profits. All right. This is really super advanced, super cool stuff. Now, and what we're going to do is this is really, I mean, I call it the double up strategy, okay? Double up. But it comes from the martingale type of betting. Well, what is that? What is a martingale type of betting? Well, it turns out that it was, I think it was invented by a guy by the name of Martingale at the Monte Carlo Casino. And what he said was, and he said, well, I'm going to, if I'm going to bet $1, and then if I lose, I'm going to bet $2. And then if I lose that bet, I'm going to bet $4. And if I lose that bet, I'm going to lose $8, and so on and so forth. Well, guess what? If let's say you get to 8, you will have lost 1. You will have lost 2. You will have lost 4. That's a total of $7 you would have lost. But then when you win this, you end up a net of $1. And that's what happens with a martingale system. That is, as you lose more, you eventually will win a bet and therefore end up with a $1 profit. So on one level, you can say that the martingale system is a very good system that will end up making money. There's just one small problem. You have to have infinite money. Because what if you had 100 losing trades in a row? Clearly that's 100 spins of the roulette wheel or 100 hands of blackjack. But let's use trades. What if you had 100 losing trades in a row and you doubled up each time? Well, you'd be broke. You would run out of money. Now, the casinos, in order to stop martingales, if you go to a blackjack table, you will see, and it'll say something like the minimum bet is $25 and the maximum is $500. So the casinos put a cap on the number of trades or bets you're allowed to make in order to stop anybody from doing a martingale. So eventually a martingale works, but there are two big problems that stop it from working in the real world. Now, we're not going to use a martingale, but I wanted to show you there's a concept behind this. Now, in this particular case, we're talking about gambling, okay? This is gambling. And that's not very good looking. Gambling, there, that's better. Gambling. Now, the key with gambling is that in most forms of gambling, each flip of a coin or each spin of the roulette wheel are independent. And so the one spin of the roulette wheel is not dependent on the one before it. Craps, you roll the dice don't have a memory, so they are independent. And really, we should call these independent trials, because every coin flip, spin of the roulette wheel is independent of the previous one. Now, there is an exception, and that is blackjack. Because in blackjack, as you deal the cards out, the following cards that you receive when you play blackjack are dependent on the cards that have come before. So there is one form of gambling where these are called dependent. Well, let me ask a simple question. Is today's price at least somewhat dependent on yesterday's price? The answer is obviously yes. And so trading is unlike gambling in many respects, but in this one in particular, each trade is dependent on the previous trade. So what that means then is that if the price of today is dependent, at least partially, on the price yesterday. All right, now this is very interesting. So now let's go take a look at a real world example, all right? So what have we got here? It doesn't matter what technique this is. Oh, this is Mr. 2. All right, doesn't matter what the technique is. But in many of the techniques in this course, I'm going to be talking about doubling up, the double up strategy. So let's take a look right here. The very first trade occurs on this day right here. The following day, we're losing money. And as you'll see in many of these techniques, if we're losing money on the first day we're in the trade, we double up. In other words, we do a martingale, but only once. So we don't go 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, etc. We just go 1, 2. Actually, we go 1, 1. All right. So it's based on the concept of the martingale, but it's much more conservative. So, and we're really saying that that today's drop was partially influenced by the previous day's drop. So in this case, we would buy here. I'll zoom in. We would buy here on the close. We're losing money here, so we buy on the close again, and then pop the next day. We get 2 winning trades. Now, we could, I don't have an example here, but we could find examples where we lose money the 3rd day, and the 4th day, and the 5th day. Well, guess what? We don't go to the 3rd or the 4th day. I believe that it is probably profitable to keep on adding to your position, to double up, then triple up, and then quadruple up. I believe that's probably profitable. But these techniques that I'm teaching you are so powerful, and the risks are much larger if we triple and quadruple up. So instead, I just double up. So I'm kind of being, I have an excess of caution here, but I'm not trying to make $1 million every day. I'm just trying to do it once a year. All right. So we're only going to double up. We're not going to triple up or quadruple up. And when I say double up, I mean that if we got into a 1% position on the first trade, we'll put on a 1% position on the second day. Now, so that's what we mean by double up. The risk will be the same as we put on the day before. So now there's another interesting thing that happens here. You see, what happens is that the double up trade is nearly always much more profitable than the first trade. I mean, dramatically profitable. This is a pretty good example right here. We get into the first trade here and we make that amount of money. The second trade is almost twice as profitable as the first trade. That's pretty incredible. That's pretty incredible. And this is a pretty typical trade. This is not an unusual trade at all, where the double up was much more profitable. Let me go back and see if I can find. Okay, here's another. I don't know if this trade's profitable or not. Let's go find out. Okay, so let's just see. No, actually, okay. So this is an interesting example here as well. So here we get our first buy on this day right here. The market then goes against us on day 2, so we double up. Now look at what happens. Then the market goes down, and there's our exit point here, our first close above the 5-day moving average. So our first trade was actually a losing trade. Not a big loser, but still a loser. But our second trade was a bigger winner than the first trade was a loser. Okay, now that's not an untypical thing as well. The double up trade is giving us the profit in the trade. Now, by the way, I love seeing this, but look at the next trade. We bought the absolute low close in the move, and pop, we have a really nice profit on this third trade. Now, that's not related to doubling up. So you see that we have opportunities all the time. They're not infrequent where we get the double up. And also the double up tends to be much more profitable than the first trade. Of course, it doesn't happen as often. So if we see a trade, we have to do the trade. We can't wait until the second day just to get the second one. Well, actually we could. I do have students that only do the double up trade. They have far fewer trades. They actually make less money, but they have a higher percentage of winners, and the winners on average are much bigger. So I don't really recommend doing that. I'd say do the first trade, do the second trade, and look for that second trade, the double up, to be way more profitable. All right, everybody. See you on our next video.